It's Christmas night. I'm 30, alone under a bridge, and I know my time is running short. Before it's too late, I need to confess something and ask my parents and society one question. What was so wrong with me that I deserved this life? Don't miss a single beat of this story. Subscribe, like, share with someone who loves gripping stories, and drop your thoughts below. My 10 p.m. stories. One story every night at 10 p.m. Some confessions bring a strange kind of relief. They loosen the chest. They allow you to breathe, even if only once more. Tonight, I'm telling you about a life that was stolen before it even began, about innocence shattered in the dark, about children who fell through every crack society pretends doesn't exist. This is my story. This is how I ended up here, under this bridge, asking a question no one will answer. Was I not once worth saving? My earliest memory is of pale green walls and the smell of boiled cabbage. The children's hostel on Monroe Street was a 3-story building with bars on the windows and locks on every door. I lived there for as long as I could remember. There were maybe 40 of us, children ranging from toddlers to teenagers, all sleeping in cramped dormitories with bunk beds lined against cracked plaster walls. I was around 6 when I became fully aware of my surroundings. The younger children cried at night, calling for mothers who never came. The older ones grew quiet and hard, their eyes empty by the time they turned 12. We attended a small school inside the building, taught by rotating volunteers who rarely stayed longer than a few months. The curriculum was basic: reading, writing, and simple arithmetic, nothing that would prepare us for the world outside. The staff consisted of 3 teachers and 4 guards. The guards wore navy uniforms and carried heavy key rings that jangled when they walked the corridors. They controlled everything: meal times, bathroom breaks, and lights out. We learned quickly not to ask questions, not to demand explanations, and not to expect anything beyond what we were given. I had friends there: Lily with her gap-toothed smile and wild blonde curls, Marcus, who could make anyone laugh even on the worst days. We played in the concrete courtyard during our limited outdoor time, inventing games with rocks and sticks. We shared secrets whispered after lights out. We celebrated birthdays with stolen sugar packets dissolved in water, pretending it was cake. But even then, I sensed something was wrong with our world. I turned 10 on a Tuesday in March. There was no celebration, no acknowledgement, just another day of watery oatmeal for breakfast and silent study time in the classroom. That night, lying in my bunk, I stared at the water-stained ceiling and felt something shift inside me. A question formed that I couldn't ignore. Where were my parents? The next morning, I approached Mrs. Henley, the oldest teacher. She had kind eyes and sometimes slipped us extra bread when the guards weren't looking. I found her in the supply closet, counting pencils. "Mrs. Henley," I said, my voice small, "do you know where my mother is?" Her hands stopped moving. She looked at me with something like pity, then quickly masked it. "Maria, honey, we've been through this. None of you children have parents who can care for you. That's why you're here." "But where are they?" I pressed. "Are they alive? Did they leave me? What happened?" She set down the pencils and crouched to my eye level. Her knees cracked. "Some questions don't have good answers, sweetheart. You're safe here. That's what matters." But I wasn't safe, and deep down, I think she knew it. I was 11 when Guard Patterson started paying special attention to me. He was maybe 35, with thinning brown hair and a face that seemed friendly at first. He began finding excuses to talk to me, asking about my studies, complimenting my drawings, and bringing me an extra apple at dinner. I thought he was being kind. I thought, finally, someone saw me as more than just another orphan taking up space. The other girls began looking at me differently, some with jealousy, others had a fear I didn't understand. Lily pulled me aside one day in the bathroom, her face pale. "Stay away from him, please," I asked, confused. "He's nice to me." She opened her mouth, then closed it. Whatever she wanted to say, she swallowed it down. Just be careful. I didn't listen. I was so desperate for attention, for someone to care that I couldn't see what was right in front of me. 3 weeks later, on a night when the spring rain pounded against the windows, everything changed. What happened that night in the dormitory while 12 other girls pretended to sleep stole something from me I would never get back. My sense of safety, my trust, my childhood itself. I want to tell you I was brave. I want to tell you I told someone that I fought back, that I did something to stop it. But the truth is, I was terrified. I was 11 years old, and I didn't understand what was happening or why. The next morning, he found me alone in the hallway. He leaned down and whispered, "If you tell anyone, they'll say you're lying. They'll say you wanted it, and then you'll have nowhere to go. Do you understand?" I nodded. What else could I do? Where else could I go? So I stayed silent, and it happened again and again, always at night, always when the dormitory was full of witnesses who saw nothing, said nothing, did nothing. The other girls watched me with knowing eyes. This had happened before, I realized, to others, maybe to Lily, maybe to all of them. We were trapped in a cycle of abuse that everyone knew about, but no one stopped. That night, Lily crawled into my bunk. She didn't say anything. She just held my hand in the dark, her palms sweaty and small against mine. We stayed like that until dawn. I learned that silence weights it, a physical presence that sits on your chest and makes breathing difficult. By 12, I had changed completely. The soft, curious child was gone, replaced by someone harder, more guarded. I stopped asking questions. I stopped hoping for rescue. I started planning. Marcus noticed first. He was 14 now, tall and lanky, his voice deepening. We sat together in the courtyard one afternoon, the autumn sun weak against our skin. "You're different," he said quietly. "We're all different," I replied, watching a bird struggle against the wind. "No, you're planning something, I can tell." I looked at him then, really looked at him. His eyes held the same emptiness mine did. "If you could leave," I asked carefully, "would you?" He was silent for a long moment, then, in a heartbeat. That's how it started. Whispered conversations in corners, shared glances across the dining hall. We recruited carefully, only kids we trusted, only those who had nothing left to lose. Lily, Marcus, 2 other girls, Sophia and Emma, a boy named Jake who'd been mistreated so many times by the guards, his spirit was nearly broken. 6 of us, 6 children planning to run from the only home we'd ever known. We spent months preparing, stealing small things, a pocket knife, matches, coins left unattended. We studied the guard rotations, memorized the lock patterns, and tested windows in the dead of night. And then, one December night, when the first snow fell, we ran. Freedom, we discovered, was just another word for terror. The streets were colder than we'd imagined, louder, more dangerous. We huddled together in alleys, under bridges, in abandoned buildings that reeked of decay. We were children playing at survival, armed with nothing but desperation. The first week, we ate from dumpsters behind restaurants. The food was often spoiled, but hunger made us brave. We learned which shop owners would chase us away and which ones looked the other way. We discovered that sleeping in shifts kept us safer. Someone was always watching while the others rested. Marcus became our leader, though he never asked for the role. He was the one who taught us how to survive, how to find food, avoid danger, and stay one step ahead of trouble. Lily kept us laughing, even when we were freezing and starving. Sophia was our planner, always thinking 3 steps ahead. We told ourselves we were free. We told ourselves this was better than the hostel. But freedom without resources, without education, without support, that's not freedom at all. That's just a different kind of prison. By 13, life on the streets had changed us all. We'd fallen into dangerous patterns, anything to numb the hunger, the cold, the memories of what we'd survived. It started as survival, but quickly became something darker. The streets changed us. Marcus grew paranoid and withdrawn. Lily's laughter became forced, desperate. Emma stopped talking altogether, communicating only in nods and headshakes. We fought more, trusted less, and slowly unraveled as a group. I remember one night, huddled under an overpass, shivering from cold and withdrawal, thinking, this is what I ran to? This is freedom? But I couldn't go back. Even if I wanted to, where would I return to? The hostel had trained us well. We were nobody's children, nobody's responsibility, nobody's problem. We started stealing to survive, breaking into cars, taking from stores, doing whatever we needed to make it through another day. The money never lasted. We'd spend it on food, on warmth, on temporary escapes from our reality, and then we'd be back on the streets, starting over. I stopped recognizing myself in store windows and puddles. The girl I'd been, curious, hopeful, was gone. In her place was someone I barely knew. Chapter 8. The First Loss. Sophia disappeared on a Tuesday. One moment she was there, sleeping beside me in an abandoned warehouse. The next morning, she was gone. We searched for 3 days, calling her name in every alley, every place we knew. On the 4th day, we heard the news. A body had been found in the river. Female, approximately 16 years old, unidentified. We knew. We all knew. The police came around asking questions, but we scattered before they could corner us. What would we tell them anyway? That we'd been living on the streets for years? That we'd run from a children's home where we were harmed? They'd just send us back, or worse. Sophia's death changed something fundamental in our group. The illusion that we were somehow invincible, that we could survive this life indefinitely, was shattered. We became more reckless, taking bigger risks, caring less about consequences. Marcus started talking about going straight, getting a real job, and maybe finding a shelter that would take him. But it was just talk. None of us knew how to function in the normal world. We'd been broken too young, failed by too many systems. Lily took Sophia's death the hardest. She stopped eating and stopped sleeping properly. Her eyes developed a haunted quality that frightened me. I should have seen what was coming.
Last week. God, was it only last week? We lost Lily too. Suddenly, tragically, alone. We'd been drinking that night, cheap alcohol someone had taken from a corner store. Lily kept saying she wanted to go for a walk, needed air and needed space. I was too far gone to argue, too numb to stop her. She wandered off around midnight. We assumed she'd come back. She always came back. But this time, she didn't. They found her on Riverside Drive at dawn. She'd been hit by a car. The driver never stopped, just left her there, like she was nothing, like she didn't matter. Because that's what we were to the world, invisible, disposable. There was no funeral, no mourning, no family to claim her body. The state buried her in an unmarked grave somewhere outside the city. I don't even know where. Lily was 19 years old. She'd survived years of trauma, years on the streets, and years of struggling just to exist. And then she was gone, and nobody cared enough to even investigate properly. After they took her body away, I sat where she'd fallen and cried until I had nothing left inside me. That's when I realized how fragile our lives really were. 2 days after Lily's death, Jake got arrested. We'd been trying to survive, a desperate move in broad daylight that went wrong. The alarm went off. Jake panicked, tried to run, tripped over a curb, and went down hard. The police were on him in seconds. I watched from across the street, hidden behind a bus stop. I watched them cuff him, push his face against the hood, and search him roughly. I watched Jake, kind, broken Jake, who used to share his food even when he was starving, get thrown into the back of a police car. He looked at me as they drove away. Just one look. It said everything. I'm sorry. Good luck. Survive if you can. That was 3 days ago. I haven't heard from him since. Now it's just me, Marcus, and Emma, 3 survivors of a group that once felt invincible, 3 people haunting the same streets that destroyed our friends. Marcus is talking about heading south, to a warmer city where winter won't be so brutal. Emma just nods, agreeing to everything, saying nothing. And me? I'm sitting here under this bridge on Christmas night, realizing I don't have the strength to keep running anymore. I'm exhausted. My body aches. I'm sick and malnourished, and I know I need help, but I don't know where to turn. It's Christmas night. Somewhere in this city, families are gathering around tables laden with food. Children are opening presents, squealing with delight. People are warm, safe, and loved. And I'm here, under the Key Bridge in Washington, D.C. The Potomac River flows dark and cold beside me. The wind cuts through my thin jacket like knives. I haven't eaten in 2 days. My fingers are numb. My lips are cracked and bleeding. I keep thinking about that little girl in the hostel, the one who asked where her mother was, the one who still believed someone might come for her. What would I tell her if I could go back? Would I tell her to stay, to report what happened and hope someone would listen? Would I tell her to run faster and farther, to find better people and a better life? Or would I tell her the truth, that the world decided long ago that she doesn't count, that her life has no value, that her suffering is invisible? I close my eyes and see them all. Sophia's young face, Lily's wild curls, Jake's sad smile, Marcus's tired eyes, Emma's eternal silence. We were children once. We laughed, we played, we dreamed. What happened to us? Where did the system fail? And why does it keep failing so many others?
I want to ask the parents who left me at that hostel, did you ever think about me? Did you ever wonder if I was okay? Did you celebrate my birthday? Did you imagine what kind of person I might become? Or was I easier to forget, just a mistake, a burden, a problem solved by abandonment? I want to ask the staff at the hostel, did you sleep well at night? When you went home to your families, your comfortable lives, did you think about the children you were supposed to protect? Or were we just part of the job, bodies to be managed and controlled? I want to ask the people who walked past us on the streets, did you see us? Really see us? Or were we just scenery, part of the urban landscape you've learned to ignore? I want to ask the driver who hit Lily and kept going, how do you live with yourself? I want to ask the social workers, the policymakers, and the system itself, why? Why do children keep falling through the cracks? Why is it so easy to forget about us? Why does nobody care until it's too late? But most of all, I want to ask myself, who was I supposed to be? If I'd had parents who loved me, teachers who protected me, and a society that valued me, who could I have become? I'll never know the answer to that question, but maybe someone reading this will. Maybe someone will care enough to make sure other children don't end up like me. The cold has seeped into my bones. I'm exhausted and sick, and I know I need help. Tomorrow, I'm going to try to find a shelter, a hospital, or somewhere that might take me in. I don't know if they will. I don't know if I'll make it through this winter. But tonight, before I try to rest, I need to say this to anyone who might listen. I was a child once, a tender, beautiful child with bright eyes and a quick smile. I was curious about the world. I wanted to learn, to grow, to become something. I had potential. I had worth. I mattered. And the world took that child and broke her, piece by piece, day by day, until I became this, a 30-year-old woman alone under a bridge on Christmas, forgotten and invisible. I'm leaving this confession not for sympathy. I'm leaving it as a call to action, so that maybe, just maybe, someone will see it and decide to do something, to volunteer at a children's home, to donate to homeless services, to advocate for better child protection laws, to simply notice the invisible people around them.
To all the other children in hostels and foster homes and broken systems, I see you. I know you. Your suffering is real, even if nobody acknowledges it. You matter, even if nobody tells you so. Please don't give up. Seek help. Find someone who will listen. You deserve better than what happened to me. And to the world that failed us, remember our names: Sophia, Lily, Jake, Marcus, Emma, and Maria. Remember Maria. Some truths don't set you free, they just let you name what broke you. Maria's story ends with a plea for change, but thousands of children still need our help today. Invisible, forgotten, struggling while we look away. What was her fault? What was any of theirs? It's time we finally answered. If this story touched you, stay with me for the next one. Subscribe, like, share it with someone who would feel it, and leave your thoughts in the comments. My 10 p.m. stories. One story every night at 10 p.m.